Welcome to Sleepy Kingdoms. Tonight, let your breath slow, as we travel back through the fog of time, into a forgotten village tucked quietly in the folds of a medieval valley. This is not the world of knights and kings, of wars and banners and burning castles. This is the world of someone softer, quieter, someone overlooked. You are a peasant, a simple soul. You will not be remembered in any book. But tonight, we remember you. Blank, underscore, blank. You wake up before the sun. The thatch roof above you glows faintly with pre-dawn light, a dusty pink seeping through small gaps in the straw. The smell of ash, damp wool, and yesterday's soup still lingers in the air. A soft scratching sound stirs you, likely a mouse, foraging near the fire pit. You don't startle, you've heard it before. You lie still for a moment, wrapped in a wool blanket that itches more than it warms. Beside you, the coals in the hearth are still glowing faintly red. There's no chimney in this one-room cottage, just a hole in the roof and smoke stains on the ceiling. Your eyes adjust to the low light, and the simple world around you slowly sharpens. A wooden stool, a three-legged table, the low arch of the door made from uneven planks, bound with rusted iron nails. A single clay bowl sits by the wall, catching drips from the roof. It rained last night, the floor is still damp. And then there's your breath, visible in the cold. You sit up slowly, stretching your arms. Your joints pop. It is not pain, not exactly, just the ache of repetition. You've been waking this way for as long as you can remember. And you always begin the day with quiet. Outside, the village is not yet awake, but the crows are. You hear them calling from the bare branches. 1, 2, maybe more, their voices sharp against the softness of the hour. Your tunic lies folded near your feet. It's coarse, scratchy linen, dyed a grayish-brown from oak bark and ash. You pull it over your head and cinch it at the waist with a hemp cord. No shoes, not yet. Your feet know the chill of the floor well. You stir the coals with a charred stick and add a few twigs. They catch quickly, and the first warmth of the day begins to pulse from the hearth. Blank, underscore, blank. You boil water, not for tea, but to soften yesterday's oats. They've been soaking in a clay pot overnight. You stir them with a wooden spoon carved by your grandfather. Long ago, the handle is worn smooth, the edges darkened by use. The oats thicken. You ladle a portion into a smaller bowl and sit by the fire. Hunched, knees drawn close, elbows resting. This is not a feast, but it fills the belly, quiets the hunger. You chew slowly, your jaw still stiff from sleep. From outside, the sound of a goat bleating cuts through the silence. A neighbor's animal, probably. You don't own one. You trade labor for milk when you can. Blank, underscore, blank. After breakfast, you step outside. The morning air bites at your skin. Mist curls low over the path. The sky is a pale silver gray. The sun still a thought beneath the horizon. You walk past your cottage and down the mud path that winds between others just like yours. Each one leans slightly, as if tired. Smoke begins to curl from one chimney, then another. Children stir behind doors. A rooster calls. You nod to old Tom, who is already chopping wood beside his door. His hands are knotted with age, his back bent, but he swings the axe with steady rhythm. You don't speak, he doesn't expect you to. At the edge of the village stands a worn wooden fence, and beyond it, the fields, your daily kingdom. Blank, underscore, blank. You reach the field just as the mist begins to lift. The earth is cold, but familiar. You know this land, every rock, every furrow. You've turned this soil with your hands, watched it crack in summer and freeze in winter. Today, it is damp, good for roots. You kneel and begin to dig, hands bare. The hem of your tunic already wet. Your fingers numb quickly, but you keep moving. The repetition keeps you warm. A robin hops nearby. It watches you, tilts its head, then darts away. Farther down the path, you hear the clatter of wheels, someone bringing firewood in a cart. The rhythm of village life begins to rise like a slow breath. Everyone has their place. Everyone has their silence. Blank, underscore, blank. You pause to stretch. The sky is lighter now. Pale blue breaks through gray. Your breath no longer steams as it did an hour ago. You stand for a moment, hands on your back, and look to the hills beyond the village. There is no wall, no gate, no guard tower, just forest, and the slow bend of the river, and the promise of another sunrise tomorrow. This is your world, not heroic, not tragic, but real, and quiet, and yours. Blank, underscore, blank. You hear a bell, the village bell. It rings once at sunrise, not a call to arms, but a simple mark of time. You listen, and then you return to your work. Your hands return to the earth. The sun begins to climb. The morning is still yours. You pause your work for a moment, not because you're tired, but because you've learned to notice the subtle things. The feel of the earth beneath your fingers. The shape of the clouds, which today stretch long and low like pulled wool. The sound of wind through the hedgerows. It's not silence exactly, but something softer than sound, an absence of shouting, of rushing, of need. You let your breath slow. Your shoulders fall. This is the moment you enjoy the most. Though you rarely speak of it, there's a stillness in the morning, just before the village fully wakes. A sacred emptiness. You press your palm against the damp soil. It's cool, firm, rooted. It reminds you of who you are, not in a grand, poetic sense, simply in the way your body knows this ground better than it knows the inside of the church or the face of a lord. You are not meant to speak much, but the land listens. You return to work. A neighbor's boy runs past in the distance, carrying a sack of grain too large for him. He stumbles, laughs, gets up again. A dog follows, tail wagging, barking once before disappearing down the path. You hear distant voices, someone singing a harvest tune, someone else calling for a child. The village is alive now, slowly, like a pot warming over the morning fire. In the next field, you see Anna, gathering herbs. She doesn't wave, but your eyes meet, and that's enough. You remember when her hair was darker. You remember when you were both children. For a moment, you wonder what it would have been like if you'd had different lives. If you'd gone off to the city, or taken vows, but the thought fades quickly. The land pulls you back. You shift a stone from the soil and set it aside. The pattern is always the same: dig, loosen, pull, plant. There's rhythm in it, not music, but breath. You feel a droplet of sweat trace down your spine. The sun now peeks over the trees in full. Its light cuts through the mist, making every blade of grass sparkle. You squint, wipe your brow with your sleeve. The field smells of wet iron and last year's roots. From a nearby grove, the distant call of a cuckoo echoes twice, then fades. You pause again, not from exhaustion, but reverence. This land, this small corner of the world, has held generations. You can almost hear them if you stand still long enough. The ones who turned this same earth, walked this same path, whispered to the same wind. You think of your father. You remember his hands, cracked and wide, like old bark. He never said much, but when he dug, the ground seemed to open for him. You wonder if he'd be proud, or if he'd simply nod and hand you another seed. The thought makes your chest warm. You dig deeper, pressing your fingers into the softest layer of soil. It clings to your skin like memory. You spread it gently, find a root, tug it loose. Each motion is slow, careful, not rushed. The sun is higher now. You hear the creak of a cartwheel. Closer this time, a merchant perhaps, or the priest. You don't look up. You keep your rhythm. The air smells of wood smoke now. Somewhere, someone is baking bread. You feel a pang of hunger. But it's quiet. You've learned to hold it. Let it hum beneath your ribs like an old song. Around midday, you take a short rest. You sit on a stone near the edge of the field, where the grass grows longer and the earth slopes downward toward the stream. You drink from a clay flask, water still cool from the morning. The birds are louder now, finches, wrens, a lone jay that scolds you from a nearby tree. You smile, despite yourself. You rub your hands together, wiping off soil. The lines in your palms are dark, etched with dirt and time. You lean back against the slope, the stone cool against your spine. The sky above is cloudless now, a soft and endless blue. You feel the breeze on your cheek. Your eyelids flutter closed, just for a moment, not to sleep, but to feel the stillness. A bee buzzes near your ear. You don't flinch. Let it pass. Let the world pass. In this moment, you are not working. You are not a peasant. You are not hungry, or poor, or forgotten. You are part of something older than names, older than hunger, older than kings. You are part of the earth. The breeze shifts. A bell rings faintly, this time not the village bell, but a handbell. A call to prayer? Maybe, but you stay seated. The sun climbs higher. A shadow passes across the ground, a hawk, gliding low, watching the fields. You watch it until it disappears. The warmth of the stone beneath you seeps into your bones. Your fingers twitch. The rhythm calls again. You rise, slowly. The wind has changed. There's a smell of approaching heat. You glance upward. No clouds, just light, just sky. You return to the center of the field. There's still work to do before the evening. Your hands sink back into the soil, and the day goes on. The sun is fully awake now. It sits above the hills, suspended in the cloudless sky like a white coin, casting a hazy warmth across the village fields. You pause for a moment to roll your sleeves, your forearms streaked with soil and sweat. The ground beneath you is no longer wet, but soft, pliable from the morning mist and ready for planting. This is the hour of effort. The air is heavier now, and with each movement, the weight of the day begins to settle into your body like a stone into still water. You press on, not because someone commands you, but because it is simply the way of things. In the distance, you hear the faint thump of a hammer against wood, someone repairing a wheel or perhaps working on a shutter. You hear laughter too, brief, distant, children perhaps, chasing one another through the tall grass near the mill. It reminds you of a time when your feet were faster, your eyes brighter, but those years passed like a short harvest, beautiful, brief, and quickly turned to memory. Now, the work is quieter, and so are you. The sun warms the back of your neck as you move from row to row. You reach for your hoe, wooden-handled, iron-bladed, notched with time, and begin clearing weeds that sprouted overnight. Each tug is a sigh of effort. The weeds surrender without resistance. Limp and pale in your hands, you pile them at the edge of the field, where birds peck curiously but never carry them away. A bee hovers near your elbow, then darts toward the hedgerow. Disinterested, you wipe your brow again. The sweat is steady now, a second skin beneath your tunic. The soil darkens wherever it drips. You take it as a sign of honest labor. You think of bread, not as something to eat, but something to hope for. If the harvest is good, you might barter for a round loaf, still warm from the oven, with a crust that cracks under your teeth. You remember the last time you tasted such bread. It was on the feast day of St. Brigid. Your neighbor, Elwin, had shared his with you, splitting it in half with his dirt-streaked hands. You had eaten slowly, savoring every bite like it might be the last. Perhaps it was. Your stomach rumbles, but you ignore it. The sun has climbed higher now, and the air feels thick with stillness. Even the birds have quieted. The hum of insects fills the silence like a low chant. You notice the shadows. They've shrunk, pulled tightly beneath the trees and fence posts, as if seeking shelter. So you pause. You walk to the edge of the field, to where an old oak tree leans over a stone wall. Its roots bulge from the earth like veins, its bark rough and cool to the touch. You sit on the wall's edge, legs dangling slightly, and lean your back against the tree. For a moment, everything is still. You reach for your flask again, just a mouthful of water left. It's lukewarm now, but enough to wet your lips. You tilt your head back and close your eyes. The sun presses against your eyelids like gold cloth. Beneath you, the stone is warm, but the shade from the oak offers a blessed balance. This is the only time in the day when you allow yourself a moment to drift. Not to sleep, not quite, just to let the weight settle without resistance. Your mind wanders, not far, just a few years back. You think of your mother. She had a voice like worn silk, never loud, never sharp. She used to hum as she baked. Songs without words. You cannot remember the tune, only the feeling it gave you, safe, whole, still. You miss her, but not in a way that aches. More like a soft echo that visits sometimes in the heat of midday, when the world slows enough to let old memories climb through the cracks. You open your eyes again. A small white butterfly dances near your knee, dips low, then rises, vanishing into the leaves above. You listen. There are voices now, closer. Two men passing along the road. One complains of his back, the other laughs. They do not notice you. You remain still, a part of the shade, a breath in the breeze. You rise slowly. The joints resist at first, but you know their rhythm. You stretch, roll your shoulders, wipe your hands on your tunic. Then you return to the field. The heat is stronger now. The soil is drier. You adjust your pace, slow, steady, no wasted effort. The weeds are thinner here, the earth looser. You finish the last row before midday bells. There is no clock in the village, but time is marked in feeling, in the angle of the sun, the silence of the birds, the smell of smoke from midday cooking. You begin walking back toward your cottage, arms heavy, tunic damp. You pass Anna again. This time she nods. You nod back. No words, just shared movement through the same dust, under the same sun. Near the well, you see young Thomas drawing water. He grins when he sees you and offers the rope. You take it, pull slow, feel the weight of the bucket as it rises. Cold, clear, a treasure. You drink deeply. The water is clean, sharp. It wakes you in a way the sun never could. You splash some on your face. The coolness is a blessing. You thank Thomas with a nod, and he scampers away, barefoot on the path. A dog barks in the distance. Somewhere, a door creaks open. The village breathes its midday breath. You return to your doorway, sit on the step, and pull a small cloth from beneath a beam. Inside, a few slices of dried turnip and a heel of rye bread. You eat slowly. There's no rush, no feast, just fuel, each bite chewed deliberately, each swallow a pause. You watch dust drift in the sunlight, tiny particles swirling, golden, dancing without pattern. The world is small in this moment, contained, manageable. You finish your meal and close your eyes once more, not to nap, just to exist without action, to let time pass over you like wind over water. You hear a chicken cluck nearby, a child laugh, a spoon strike a pot. Life, as it always is. The sun begins to bend ever so slightly in the sky, not falling yet, but leaning. And you rise again, slowly, to meet it. The heat deepens. It doesn't blaze like summer, it lingers, low and steady, like a slow drumbeat against your shoulders. The fields seem quieter now, and you sense the sun not just above you, but inside the very air, soaking into the grain of wood, the curve of stones, the folds of your clothes. You walk a little more slowly, not from fatigue, but from knowing. This part of the day does not reward haste. It requires presence. You've learned this not from books or teachings, but from earth, season after season. Midday in the village is not loud. It hushes you. As you pass along the path behind the last row of cabbage beds, you see a small trail leading between two stone walls, overgrown with moss. You follow it without thinking, drawn by routine more than decision. It leads to a patch of wild lavender. No one plants it, it simply returns, year after year, and no one claims it because everyone respects what grows unasked. You kneel beside it. You don't pick it, you never do, but you run your fingers lightly across the purple blossoms, and their soft scent rises. Soothing, simple. You sit there for a while. A wind begins to stir, not strong, but enough to move the leaves and cool your skin. You let your hands fall to your lap and close your eyes again. This is not rest, it is restoration. You think, not of the day ahead, nor the work unfinished, but of something smaller, a conversation you had long ago with an old man by the mill. He told you once that time bends differently in the middle of the day. Mornings run, he said, evenings fade, but midday folds in on itself. You didn't understand then, but you do now. The minutes feel longer, and yet somehow suspended, as if the world is caught between breaths. In this stillness, your mind drifts further than usual. You remember a girl who once smiled at you during a festival. You remember how she danced, feet bare, laughter light. You never spoke to her. She left the village weeks later, married off to a trader from the coast. You wonder if she ever thinks of that night. You wonder if she remembers your face. The thought doesn't make you sad, it makes you human, and that, today, feels like enough. A shadow passes. You open your eyes to find a crow perched on the low wall beside the lavender. Its feathers are sleek, black as iron, its eyes curious. It does not startle when you move, only tilts its head as if to ask a question it already knows you cannot answer. Then it takes flight, wings wide and silent. You watch it until it disappears behind the rooftops. You rise slowly, brushing your hands against your tunic. The village is stirring again. You hear the faint thump of a pestle grinding grain, the slap of fabric against stone as someone washes by the stream, the gentle clink of pots being stacked. These sounds are not loud, but they carry a rhythm, the rhythm of survival, the rhythm of continuation. You walk back toward the center of the village, passing between houses with crooked chimneys and leaning shutters. A woman stands by her doorway, peeling onions into a bowl. She nods. You nod back. Again, no words. There is no need. The language of gestures is enough here. You stop by the well again, not for water, but to rest your hands on the stone rim. It's cool to the touch, and you feel the history in it. How many hands have leaned here? How many whispers it has caught? How many breaths it has cooled? You wonder what it's heard. What secrets rest in its echo? You hear footsteps behind you. It's Elder Bran, his white beard tucked into his collar, his cane tapping the stones as he walks. He nods, pausing beside you. Warm one today, he mutters. You smile. It is. He looks to the sky. Good for barley, bad for backs. You chuckle softly. He taps the well's edge twice with his knuckles, then moves on. That's the entire conversation, and yet, you feel as though something meaningful was exchanged. Not information, just presence. You begin walking back to your cottage, past the small garden where you grow thyme and leeks and nettles. The leaves curl slightly from the heat, but they'll survive, they always do. You step inside your home. Just for a moment, the air is cooler, the light softer, dust floats lazily in the beams of sun that slip through the cracks in the wood. You place the cloth from your meal back beneath the beam, fold it carefully, you sit on the edge of your straw bed, your hands rest on your knees, you stare at the wall, not with any thought, just being, just breathing. The fire has long gone out, but the ashes still hold warmth. You press your palm lightly against the hearthstone. It reminds you of touch, of presence, of something you cannot name. You remain there for a few minutes, eyes soft, thoughts even softer. Then you stand again. You leave the cottage, close the door behind you. Outside, the shadows are longer now. Not long yet, but leaning. The grass glints golden. The dust on the path glows with a kind of hush. You step off the porch and walk once more to the field, not because there's more to do, but because there always is. And not because you must, but because it anchors you. The soil receives you again like a companion. You move slower now, not from fatigue, but because the sun tells you the day is tilting toward its end. You breathe deeper. You feel the quiet settle again. This is the final curve of noon. The world begins to exhale. And so do you. The light has changed. You can feel it in the way the shadows stretch, in the cooler air that moves gently down from the hills, carrying with it the scent of dry grass and distant wood smoke. The sun no longer watches from above. It lingers now along the edges of roofs and fence posts, dipping lower with every breath you take. You pause in the field, leaning on the wooden handle of your hoe, and watch the day change shape. It doesn't end all at once. It fades, softly, like ink spreading across parchment. You wipe your hands on your tunic and begin the slow walk back toward the village. The soil clings to your skin, a quiet echo of the work behind you. You pass the same stones, the same worn path between cottages, but they all look different now. The light gives everything a new face. It is not golden, it is not bright, it is quiet, dim, the kind of light that invites you to whisper. A dog trots past, sniffing at a stick. Behind a shutter, someone plays a soft tune on a wooden flute, hesitant, a little clumsy, but heartfelt. You recognize the melody. Your mother used to hum it while washing clothes by the stream. You never learned the words, but the tune lives in you still, buried like seed beneath snow. You pass the baker's cottage. The door is open, and a warm, rich scent spills into the lane. Bread, rising in an oven, crust darkening. It reaches into your chest and pulls something from you. Not hunger, something older, memory. You stop for just a moment to breathe it in, and then move on. You don't linger. The light won't wait for you. At the edge of the village green, you sit on a low stone wall, the same one you played near as a child. You rest your elbows on your knees and stare across the field. In the distance, the trees are dark silhouettes against a sky slowly turning lavender, then gray. You think of how many evenings have looked just like this, and yet, none have ever been the same. The village begins to quiet. Doors close, chickens are herded into coops, tools are leaned against sheds, not because they are finished, but because the light has said, enough. Someone calls out to a child to come inside. Another answers from behind a fence. The voices are gentle, tired, not sad, just softened. You sit for a while, not moving. You let your thoughts wander, not far, but deep. You wonder if this is what peace feels like. Not joy, not comfort, but stillness. A life so ordinary it becomes sacred. You rise again, slowly, and walk toward your home. You step inside. The air is cooler here now. The hearth is empty, just a few pieces of wood stacked neatly to one side. You light a small flame, slowly, patiently, with flint and steel, coaxing it to life with dry moss and breath. It catches, and the glow is soft, orange, like candlelight poured into the room. The shadows dance gently against the walls. You move quietly, out of habit more than need. You set a small pot over the fire. Pour in a little water, a pinch of salt, a few slices of dried turnip and herb. It's not much, but it will do. The scent of the broth rises slowly, gently, filling the small space with warmth. You sit beside the fire, cross-legged on the floor. You watch the flames, not for heat, but for company. They flicker like thoughts. You eat slowly when the soup is ready. There is no rush. Each spoonful is deliberate, a rhythm. You listen to the fire crackle, the wind outside slipping through the cracks in the doorframe. Occasionally, a dog barks far off, or the hoot of an owl stirs the silence. You are not lonely, not quite, but you are alone, and in that, there is something clean. You wash the bowl, carefully, placing it upside down on the shelf to dry. You fold your blanket, check the latch on the window. Blow gently at the flame until it dims but does not die. You do not extinguish it completely, just enough to make the room feel like evening. You lie down on your straw bed, arms folded over your chest, staring at the low ceiling. You do not sleep yet. You think, not in words, but in shapes, in memories without names, the face of a friend from childhood, the way the clouds looked once when it rained through sunlight, the sound of your father's footsteps at dusk. They return now, gently, uninvited but welcome. You turn onto your side, facing the small wooden shelf by the wall. On it sits a carving, a small bird, worn smooth by fingers. You carved it years ago, out of boredom, or maybe need, you don't remember, but you keep it there. It watches you, quietly. The sky beyond the window is darker now. Not black, but a deep blue that only comes at this hour. You rise again, you step outside. The night is not fully here, but the world has already given itself to shadow. You step outside your cottage and find the village wrapped in a kind of hush that even the wind respects. Smoke rises lazily from the last few chimneys. Somewhere, a mother hums to her child. You walk past the empty lane, your footsteps muffled by soft earth. You pass the fence where wild thyme grows and pluck a sprig between your fingers. The scent grounds you, sharp and earthy, like memory pressed between pages. The moon is rising now, slow and pale, not yet strong enough to cast shadows. You follow the path past the well and down toward the edge of the pasture, where the village meets the forest. There's an old stump here where you sometimes sit, and tonight, you do. The wood is cool beneath you. The sounds are different now, more subtle, a rustle of leaves, a bat flickering across the sky, the soft murmur of the trees swaying far above. You close your eyes and listen, not with your ears, but with your whole self. You remember, then, a time when you sat here not alone. Your brother, gone now these many years, once joined you on this same stump. You were children, trading stones like coins, pretending they held magic. He had a laugh that never fit his size. Too big, too bright. You remember the way he threw his head back. Fearless. He died of a fever in his 16th year. There was no warning. One day he was running through the fields, and the next, he was still. The village priest said it was God's will. But even now, you wonder if it was just the way of things. Fragile things break. You never cried, not out loud, but some part of you has been quieter since. You reach into your pocket and touch the smooth pebble you still carry. Flat, gray, worn to a perfect oval. Yours now. The breeze picks up. You feel it against your cheek like breath. You rise from the stump and walk slowly along the tree line, where the grass grows higher and the stars begin to blink awake. The path is faint here, more suggestion than trail, but your feet know it. They remember the shape of the land. You pass the stream where frogs once croaked in summer, where the elder children dared each other to leap across. You remember slipping once, soaking your tunic, shivering all the way home. Your father didn't scold you. He simply handed you dry clothes and said, "You're learning." He never explained what. You reach the edge of the stream now and crouch beside it. The water glides past like silk, black and silver in the starlight. You dip your fingers in. It's cold, clean. You cup a little and drink. The taste is sharp, almost metallic, but pure. You sit there for a while. The forest watches, not with eyes, but with presence. You think of how many feet have walked this path. How many voices have whispered here, kissed here, wept here. The land remembers more than people do. It keeps the footprints long after the names are gone. You look up and see the stars fully now. They don't shimmer the way stories say. They are still, ancient, watching. You wonder, not for the first time, if anyone will remember your name 100 years from now. The thought doesn't scare you. It humbles you. It softens you. Because even if they don't, you were here. You stood in this place. You felt the air on your skin. You dug into the earth with your own hands. And that is enough. That is everything. You take a deep breath and let it go slowly, as though exhaling more than just air. You rise, stretch your back, and begin the quiet walk home. The village is sleeping now. No more footsteps, no more voices, just the rustle of wind and the occasional creak of timber settling. You reach your door, unlatch it gently, and step inside. The coals in the hearth glow dimly, pulsing like a heartbeat. You sit beside them once more, wrapping a blanket around your shoulders. The heat is modest, but it welcomes you. You do not speak, there is no one to hear you. But still, the silence listens, and in that, you are not alone. You remain seated by the hearth for some time, your fingers tracing the folds of the blanket as though following lines on a map you've known forever. The fire has softened into a dull glow, no longer fighting the dark but simply warming it. You rest your chin against your knees and breathe slowly. There is nothing you need to do. No voice will call, no hand will tug your sleeve. The day no longer asks anything from you. It simply lets you be. You rise once more, slowly, deliberately, and walk to the window. You lift the wooden shutter just enough to see the sky. It is velvet now, deep, still, infinite. The stars are no longer shy. They stretch across the heavens like a silent choir. Unblinking, untouched, somewhere out there, beyond the darkness, kingdoms have risen and fallen. But here, in this room, everything is simple, everything is whole. You return to your bed. The straw is dry tonight, and you shift your weight carefully. Folding the blanket under your chin, you curl slightly, the way you did as a child, the way your body remembers safety. You listen, not with effort, but with openness. Outside, the wind rustles low through the thatch. A distant barn door creaks. An owl calls once, then falls silent. You begin to notice the rhythm of your own breath. In, out, like tide, like wind, like time. You think, just briefly, of what tomorrow may bring. A broken tool, a neighbor's cough, a child's laughter, maybe rain, maybe sun, but the thought drifts away before it can root. You're not holding it, you're letting it go. You shift your gaze to the small wooden carving again, the bird with no name. You reach out and place it near your heart. Just for a moment, its weight is almost nothing, and yet it reminds you of something unspoken, that you have lived, that you were here, that you mattered, even if the world forgets. You close your eyes, not to sleep, not yet, but to rest your sight. The fire clicks once, then settles. You imagine the sky turning above you, the slow spin of stars, the hush of centuries moving past your window. And in the quiet of that thought, you smile, small, faint, but real, because this moment, this breath, this fading light, is yours. It belongs to no one else. The blanket is warm now. The muscles in your back have released. Your fingers are still. Your breathing slows. In, out, in, out. You begin to hear fewer sounds. The village, the forest, the world, all slipping behind you like a boat leaving shore. You think of nothing. You need nothing. You are simply here, and that is enough. The bird rests beside you. The moon slips higher in the sky. The last spark in the hearth fades into shadow. And you, quietly, begin to drift away. You are safe now. There is nothing more to do. No more fields to turn. No more words to speak. The village sleeps, and so do the questions. The day has folded itself around you like a woolen cloak, warm and worn and soft. You breathe in. The air is gentle, touched with the last memory of smoke and stone and bread. You breathe out, slowly, fully. You do not need to hold anything. Not now. Let it go, all of it. Let the soil rest. Let the sounds fade. Let the night carry you. The straw beneath you is still. The blanket is warm. Your breath finds its rhythm again. In and out, in and out. The bird carving rests quietly by your side. The hearth is dark now, but its memory lingers in the warmth near your feet. The stars remain where they were. The moon watches, distant and soft. You no longer think in full sentences, just in colors, shapes, feelings. You remember the lavender patch, the stump by the forest, the smooth pebble in your pocket. You remember the way the light moved through the trees. You remember the stream, silver beneath your hand, and then, you don't need to remember anymore. The thoughts fade gently, like mist. The room is quieter now than it has ever been. Even your heartbeat is soft. The walls are not closing, they're disappearing. Not gone, just unnecessary. The village has gone to sleep. The world has paused its spinning just for you. Nothing demands you now. There is only breath. There is only quiet. There is only rest. Your hands are still. Your shoulders, weightless. Your mind, like water at the bottom of a well, deep, still, and untouched. You do not chase sleep. It finds you. It always does. It arrives like dusk, slow, unnoticed, until it has covered everything. The bird by your side is still watching. The stars above you are still listening. But they ask nothing of you. Not now. Not tonight. You breathe again. Deeper now. You float just beneath the surface of thought. Drifting. Quiet. Warm. The last thing you remember is the sound of your own breath. Matching the wind. Matching the silence. Matching the world that, for now, has nothing left to ask. Only this. Rest, rest, rest.